Because anong pag-uusapan namin, this is not the time or the place to talk about the West Philippine Sea. We will not achieve anything for having a meeting about that. Kasi yun lang naman ang papag-usapan namin eh. Hindi naman, yun lang ang pag-uusapan namin. Kung hindi, ayan, public alert notice, meron din ako niyan eh. Parang sa atin, akala mo, babagsak na yung langit eh. We have just finished today the APEC that here in Gyeongju. It is actually were you able to walk around Gyeongju? Ang ganda dito. Never pa ako nakapunta rito. Hindi ko alam ganun pala kaganda rito. Anyway, that's why kami ng mga kasama namin, yung mga leader, sabi kailangan natin bumalik dito as a civilian. So para we can look around. Anyway, so we just finished that. And this afternoon, we witnessed the turnover of the chair of APEC from Korea, the Republic of Korea, and now to the People's Republic of China. So China is going to host the APEC for the next year. It was actually a very productive meeting, and because the subjects that were taken up are some of the most important and difficult subjects that the Asia-Pacific countries are facing. Of course, trade led the subject matters. But of course, many other things came in about the cooperation between countries for AI. What are the directions that we should take? What are in terms of climate control, climate change? What can we do? How do we finally figure out the loss and damage type issues? For that, and but mostly really it was an economic discussion on what are the things that we can do, because if you heard the leaders' meetings, almost all of us opened with we are facing very precarious times. The analysis is pretty universal. So. Those were the strategies that were being proposed, which was very interesting because we have Mexico and Chile all the way from Latin America. Of course, we had most of the ASEAN leaders here as well. You had many of those who were in ASEAN also there. The U.S. was here. President Trump did not attend the APEC, but mostly he came here for the meeting with President Xi Jinping. Secretary Lutnick was the one who represented him here. Almost all the ASEAN nations, and it was very interesting to hear from the different perspectives, and that's really the use of this of these kinds of summits. And as usual, I took advantage of the free time between meetings to have as many conversations with as many of them as many of the leaders and even some of the ministers about any subject. It's always very interesting to see the other points of view and how people's perspectives are on the world condition and all that. So that I think has been it. Put it this way, I'm going home. All of us are going back to Manila with a lot of ideas to think about and some work to do to develop those ideas. And I think that that is a good reason for having these summits. So I'm very happy, despite the fact that it was a very tight schedule because we just came back. We just came back from ASEAN, from KL, and we went almost directly here. But nonetheless, it's worth the fatigue and the sleep starvation. That's not important anymore.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first question will be from Anna from GMA Online News. Afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, may we know what's the wisdom behind the creation po ng Task Force Philippines between the Philippines and the United States?
Because it is basically it's organizing ourselves into a more cohesive unit in terms of the protection of the freedom of navigation in the South China Sea, the West Philippine Sea for us. So yun lang naman yun. Because it's members of the military, you know, they have to establish procedure so as to be able to operate together. And iba yung participants ngayon eh. Iba yung vessels na pinadala ng Amerika, iba yung gagamitin ng Navy natin. So we had to put together a new structure to make maximum use of the time that we are doing these exercises.
Sir, quick follow-up lang po. How will this new task force be different sa iba pa po nating partnership with the US? And do you see this as a mechanism that will ease the tension and aggressive actions of China in the West Philippine Sea?
Well, at the very least, what is the difference is because the vessels are different. So, you know, may carrier group, merong tayo rin, meron silang ano. So we have to work. We have to learn how to work with a different set of parameters, military parameters, and that was the basic difference. It will not lower. It will not. It will. I hope it will lower the tensions in West Philippine Sea. It will certainly not heighten them because it's not something new. Wala namang bagong ginagawa. Nagkaka-heightening lang of tension kapag may sumubok ng bago. Yung dati hindi ginagawa, bigla na lang gagawin. Yun, magkaka-tension. And that's not what's going to happen here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next question from Daryl Sierra from PNA.
Good evening, sir. Sir,
Hi.
could you share lang po the key outcomes of your bilateral meeting with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung?
Yeah.
Ano pong maasahan natin from the meeting in terms of investment, security, and defense cooperation? Thank you, sir.
Well, of course, I had to meet the new president because bago nga siya, hindi pa kami nagkakilala. I had only been able when he was when he newly took office. All I was able to do was give him a telephone call, and this is the first time I met him was in KL, pero sandali lang so we made the point that we have a bilateral meeting. Well, in the bilateral meeting, I'm happy to say that the cooperation between the Republic of Korea and the Philippines will continue at the very least, and we have found many other ways where it can even be developed, intensified, deepened, and that is something that is always to the good. And you know that Republic of Korea has always been very supportive of the Philippines. They are helping us with equipment for our modernization of our military. They are also helping us with joining our exercises. And beyond defense and security, if you will do a little research, the Korean Exim Bank has so many projects in the Philippines na talagang nakakatulong sa atin because they have a very good idea of what the Philippines needs. Hindi lang sinasabi, some institutions will say, we will finance you only if you do this. Kung yung if only you do this is hindi naman bagay sa atin, hindi natin na ano. Sila, they are very knowledgeable about the issues that we have to face in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of digitalization, in terms of all of those manufacturing. And so that, again, is what we discussed. And I said, I hope it continues because maganda naman yung ang ating partnership. Hindi nagkakagulo, maayos ang trabaho. You are hiring very many people, you are transferring the newest technology to us. So that is all again to the advantage of both Korea and the Philippines. So maganda talagang usapan namin, and it turns out that his niece is married to a Filipino. Yeah. Kaya sabi niya, we have a special connection. So I invited him, of course, to the Philippines, and I hope he will be able to come.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The nephew is married to my niece. Sabi niya, my niece is a Filipino. Yeah, is a Filipino.
Salamat po, Mr. President. The next question from Kat. ABS-CBN.
Naku, nahilo na.
Kulang din sa tulog, sir. Sir, you earlier mentioned that you're keeping a close eye on the meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and U.S. President Donald Trump. What key points in their meeting do you feel that will impact the Philippines most and is most of concern to you?
Well, I'd love to know, but parang we haven't gotten very much information out of either side. Either the American side or the... Meron ba kayo, anong balita ninyo? I'll ask you. Baka kasi you monitor the news. Ano bang nangyari sa meeting nila?
Does that count as my follow-up question na?
Kaya hindi na...
Sir, basically...
lahat nung nakikichismis ako, lahat ng mga leaders, may alam ka ba? May alam, anong nabalitaan mo? And it so happened, during the round table, ang katabi ko, si Secretary Lacnic. Kami ang dalawa. So I kept pushing him. I said, can you share some? Yeah, but I was very, very tight-lipped about it. So it's very hard. The best information I got says that they have declared peace for at least a year. So the trade war will be less intense, at least for a year. Or at least that's the agreement. And pag nung sinasabi sa amin yon, well, for ang usapan nila for a year. We hope it lasts a year. So do we. But medyo nakahinga ang buong mundo ng kaunti dahil na medyo nagkaayusan. Kahit na hindi kompleto, nagkaayusan ang dalawang pinakamalaking ekonomiya sa buong mundo, China at saka US. So yes, I think in the end, it was good that they met, and it was good that they came to some conclusions. We are waiting to see more, trying to get more information. We'll see how it impacts the Philippines, our trade deals with the U.S., our trade deals with China, and I guess within ASEAN and within APEC. It really affects the entire world.
Sir, for my follow-up question, just two prongs. First, sir, was it a deliberate part for the Philippines to skip a meeting with the U.S. President? And second, we understand to not have a meeting with U.S. President Trump. And second, you met briefly with President Xi Jinping. May we know to what extent the Philippines would actually cooperate with China in the region?
We didn't ask. Neither side asked for a meeting from the U.S. or from the Philippines. So that's basically the reason why we didn't. Because we are in very, very close communication with the White House. We are in very close communication with, I know that the SND is very close communication with their Secretary of, hindi na pala Defense, War, Secretary of the Department of War. In terms of trade, both Secretary Chris Roque and Secretary Dec Go are still in the middle of negotiations for certain products in terms of the tariff schedule that the Americans have put up. I'm guessing here, but I would imagine that his purpose here was to connect back with ASEAN and with South Korea and with Japan, and then meet with Xi Jinping. And he managed to... Kasi pagkatapos na yung meeting nila ni Xi Jinping, umuwi na kaagad. and he was represented by Secretary Latme. With President Xi Jinping again, neither side asked for a meeting because anong pag-uusapan namin, this is not the time or the place to talk about the West Philippine Sea. We will not achieve anything for having a meeting about that. Kasi yun lang naman ang papag-usapan namin eh. Hindi naman, yun lang ang pag-uusapan namin. Kung hindi, ayan, public alert notice, meron din ako niyan eh. Parang sa atin, akala mo, babagsak na yung langit eh. Again, this is not that this is APEC. It's an economic meeting. You don't really talk about such issues. In ASEAN, pwede pa these political issues. That's why I always bring it up. But I didn't. The only time I was able to speak to President Xi Jinping was in our last leaders retreat meeting. And the reason why, ang hirap lapitan talaga. Meron kaming holding room. But every time he comes in, he's surrounded by his security. So, ang hirap lapitan. Ayoko namang mamilit. Baka suntukin pa ako ng security guard niya. But when we came to the end, sabi ko, nakakahiya ito. Hindi pa ako bumabati. Di ba? Baka ako anong sabihin. Baka naman ma-offend. Sabi ko, so, pinilit ko makapunta sa kanya. And I said, yeah, congratulations on your assumption of the chair for the following APEC. And I hope to do good work together with you. That's it. Mabilisan lang eh. Mabilisan lang talaga.
Good afternoon. Ann Soberano po of Bombo Radio. Mr. President, kuha lang po sana kami ng reaction from you. Kasi yesterday po, may nakausap po kaming isang American businessman named Mr. Salvador Ahumada, Chairman and CEO po ng ACEIS Company, saying he is not bothered doon sa issue ng corruption sa Philippines and he intend to do business sa Pilipinas, sir. Thank you.
Well, if we had not exposed it, then they would be saying that there's a problem. Now that we have exposed it, their confidence is stronger in the Philippines. Kasi kahit may ganyan, mukhang talagang inaayos nila. So that's why things have changed. The level of confidence in the Philippine economy and in the Philippine government as the leader and the guider of the economy is restored. All countries have their own problems, but the only problem, especially for investors, is whether or not the government is doing anything about it. If the government were doing nothing about it, I would guess he wouldn't say the same thing.
Sa quick follow-up, Mr. President, meron na po ba tayong mga investment pledges sa ngayon?
Oh,
Nakuha.
yeah, should we? Well, I just had a meeting a few minutes ago. We just finished a meeting with Samsung. And as you know, Samsung is already in the Philippines. They have employed 8,000 Filipinos in their very, very high-tech manufacturing plant. The products that they make in the Philippines are of the highest tech that you can imagine. And so that is very, very important for us. Well, I met with them today, and they asked me what if we could help them with an expansion in the Philippines. And mabuti na lang, meron na tayong batas na create more. Because within the new Create More Act, there is a threshold where we say that if there is an investment of over 50 billion pesos in the country, then they are qualified to be extended incentives and tax exemptions. So they committed to that. And they said because there is a Create More now, and that we have And because there are now incentives that make it easier for us to invest and to expand. That is their commitment. They made a commitment of a little over 50 billion pesos to expand. That translates into 3,000 new jobs. And again, the transfer of technology is going to be very important. Pangatlo, lagi kong lahat ng mga nag-i-invest sa atin, lalo na yung mga technology, sinasabi ko, kailangan mag-train kayo ng tao. At hindi lamang minsanan. Kailangan tuloy-tuloy ang training ninyo. And Samsung has agreed to tie up with some universities in the Philippines, not only to train, but also to do research and development. I don't think they do that in every place that they are. And so that is a very good development that we had just a few minutes ago.
Thank you for the good news, Mr. President.
Oh, good news yan.
The next question from Luisa, Philippine Daily Inquirer.
Good evening po, sir. Follow-up lang po sana sa short encounter niyo ni Chinese President Xi Jinping. Can you share ano po yung naging response niya sa quick conversation niyo, and was that gesture a part of your plan to invite him to the Philippines next year to discuss about disputes in the West Philippine Sea?
Masyado kayong deep. It's just common courtesy. He was one of the few leaders that I make sure that I talk to everyone as much as possible. I always get something out of it there. I think I'm getting a reputation because I pick everybody's brain. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that? And I learn a lot. But in the case of President Xi, it was very quick lang. And yun nga, sabi ko, patapos na ito, matatapos na ito. He made already his final speech. Hindi ko pa nakamayan kahit minsan in the last 2 days. Baka naman sabihin ng mga Pilipino, hindi tayo marunong, di ba? So I made sure to be able to find, so habang nakaupo pa silang lahat, lumapit na ako. And I shook his hand, and the foreign minister, Wang Yi, who was sitting behind him, came and did some translation for us. Sabi ko lang sa kanya, congratulations. I hope we look forward to doing a lot of good work with you as APEC chair. And he said, thank you. And that was it. There was really not very much to it, more than that.
Sir, on a different topic naman po, what is your reaction on a petition filed before the Supreme Court questioning the constitutionality of the ICI? The petitioner said there could be a conflict of interest since the ICI was created by the executive branch of the government. And the center of the investigation, which is the DPWH, is under the same branch of the government.
Well, you know, it's not exactly a surprise. The ICI is an entirely new entity that didn't exist before, that we are only now completely defining. So there will be questions as to its legality, its constitutionality, and I'm sure, I know that somebody will raise. I don't know about the others, but I was sure somebody would have an idea that maybe it's unconstitutional or that it's unlawful. We'll just have to answer those allegations, and we'll see how the Supreme Court decides. So I haven't looked into it in any great detail as yet. Of course, I will do that when I get back. But it's not a surprise. Maybe there will be more. We'll see. And we'll just have to explain what it is we're trying to do. And maybe the methodology of it, maybe, is something that needs to be amended, but still, the Solgen will defend us and defend our position in the Supreme Court, and we'll see how it ends. But I'm very confident that we are on safe legal grounds, because before we started even thinking about organizing the ICI, I made sure that I got legal opinions from the best legal minds that I know. Basta yung kilala ko talagang napakagaling ang legal mind. So the opinion that came back was favorable, and so it is. I do believe we are on firm legal ground here.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next question from Ivy, Billionario.
Good evening, Mr. President. Another large-scale protest is slated for November 30 on Bonifacio Day, with rights groups convening since October po. And they said it's going to be bigger than September 21st. Is this a cause for concern, sir?
Yeah. Cause for? No. The only concern I have when we have demonstrations for whatever reason is that there are agitators who will go and try to cause trouble. What demonstrator goes to a demonstration with Molotov cocktails that are not intending to cause trouble or to hurt people? Those are the people that we are worried about. And those are the people that we are watching out for. We have a good idea who they are. And I hope that they don't, tanggalin na ninyo sa isip ninyo yan. Manggugulo kayo, wala namang mangyayari, may masasaktan lang. Nasasaktan pa yung mga kasama ninyo kuminsan. Yung mga pulis, wala namang kinalaman yung pulis. They're just there to control the crowd. They're not there to hurt anyone. So that's the only thing I worry about. That's the only thing I worry about. Because we know the reasons for this. The reasons is the outrage for what we have been slowly or not so slowly discovering about some of these projects that were egregious in implementation and shameless in, I don't know what you want to call it, in dishonesty and abuse. So, of course they will, you know, of course that will be a cause for outrage. You know, those funds are supposed to go to people, to feed people, to make their lives better, and that all disappear because they're buying airplanes and buying big mansions kung saan-saan. It's, you know, of course they'll be angry. Isipin mo, ang buhay nila ganyan, kami gutom. How can you be happy?
Thank you, Mr. President. Ivy, any follow-up question? That's all. All right. The next question from Eden, Net 25.
Mr. President, good evening po. More than a month na pong naitatag yung ICI, going back to dun po sa issue ng ICI, may we know po kung meron na po bang nai-allot na budget o pondo para kung meron na pong naila ang budget, may budget na po ba ang ICI para sa kanilang how much? Kasi po sinasabi ng ICI
I don't
last
have the details kasi joke din eh. Kasi we had to, once we appointed the people who were going to sit on the ICI, then they had to do the organizational part, and then we asked them, you know, we won't tell you kasi nga talaga gusto kong ayoko makialam. So, ang sanabi na lang namin, ano yung kailangan ninyo? How much will it cost? We will provide the fund, and it's not a big amount because it's really staffing, computers, printers, the usual office equipment. So so it keeps changing. The number keeps changing. So, but we can provide some. I don't know what the latest numbers are, pero kasi yun na nga, una yung staffing kakaunti lang, tapos medyo dumami. Then they're trying to create other departments to do the research, to do the investigation, to do the forensic accounting, all of those things. So it's a work in progress. That's the best way I could put it. It's a work in progress. We are again committed to providing whatever funding is necessary, and we can get to you. It's not going to be a final number, but we'll get to you what we've done so far.
Pero kailan po talaga na ibigay yung kanilang budget? Kasi
Kailan
kailan po na ibigay sa ICI yung budget nila? Kasi 2 weeks ago pa parang nagsabi na wala silang fund. Wala
silang funds doon sa mga gusto nilang gawin. Kasi talaga bago lang sabi, we need more of this. We need this that we didn't realize we needed before. So hindi pa namin napondohan. But as I said, we're committed to make sure that they can to fund their investigation, to make sure that everything that they want to do with the investigation, they can do. That they have all the people that they need, that they have all of the whatever equipment that they need, all of that. Even information, which is probably the most important thing of all. And funding is important, but if the biggest, I think the most important promise I made to them is that any single item of information that you require from any department in the executive, you have it. No questions, no subpoena, no nothing. You have it. Basta i-request nyo sa amin, nasa inyo na. That's probably the most important commitment that we made, beyond the funding.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Ace Romero from the Philippine Star.
Mr. President, you ordered the reduction of construction costs of DPWH projects, even widened it to cover those of farm-to-market roads, irrigation, classrooms, and hospitals. In the case of DPWH, you said several items such as asphalt, steel bars, and cement were overpriced by as much as 50%.
Yes.
Is your expanded cost-cutting directive an acknowledgement that there's indeed a widespread overpricing of projects in the 2026 budget?
Well, that's exactly what we've done. You know how this came about? It's because I remember the costs, when I was governor in Ilocos Norte, the costs by administration, yung by administration ginagawa ng LGU, yung parehong school building, mas mura sa amin kaysa sa DPWH. Yung kalsada, mas mura sa amin, so hindi ko namin maintindihan. Well, I thought, siyempre, part of that's already corruption. Pero iba yung presyuhan ko minsan ng DPWH doon sa kung you go to the hardware store and you buy the construction materials from the hardware store, it's cheaper than if DPWH charges it. Because also, it's not, corruption is part of it, but the other part of it is the tinatawag sa friction cost. The bureaucracy is so complex. Ang dami mong gagawin before you can get a permit. Ang dami mong gagawin bago ka makapag-procure. Kuminsan talagang red tape lang talaga. And that costs money. That costs money. So, because we are reducing that side of it, the red tape of it, anyway, sabi na, we don't have to pay for that red tape anymore. So let's bring the prices down to something closer to market, to what anybody else can buy in the store. So yun ang aming talagang habol. Hindi na kasi napupunta yan. Ang una naming inayos was the DBM put out now has a website where you can order all the LGUs, basically ang tinitignan namin, or any kinds of equipment. You have a choice. You can buy, basta it's all accredited. At saka nakalista doon, naka-display doon yung presyo. So hindi ka makapag-overprice. So that was the LGU. Now this is the public, this is DPWH. So yun ang talagang meron din talaga nakikita na overprice. Na part of it is corruption, part of it is red tape and friction costs. So, well, Secretary Vince, nakita nyo naman, he's working very, very hard to find all of the areas where we can make some savings so that the expenditures of DPWH will be very, very effective and will have a good multiplier effect. So, yes, this is, we've been doing this, malaki lang ang values nito kasi sa DPWH, laki-laki ng pera eh. Pero matagal na namin ginagawa ito, naghahanap kami ng savings in all the departments and all the, mag-streamline kami para hindi pa ulit-ulit yung mga procedure. All of those things we've been doing. Now it's DPWH's turn.
So given what you saw, Mr. President, yung red tape, yung overpricing, yung corruption, how would you describe this problem then, based on what you saw?
How do I describe it?
The problem, yes. The extent.
It's a problem that exists in every large bureaucracy. Some worse than others. But it's something that, you will never be able to say that we have removed all of corruption. There will always be Laging may loko dyan na kahit anong gawin mo, baka hanap ng paraan niya para lokohin ng gobyerno. If the systems are in place, you make it harder and harder and harder for those people to do yung nangungurakot. You make it harder and harder for them to do. The harder it becomes, the smaller the number of people are still operating under corrupt practices. So it's an ongoing thing. It's not something that you can solve with one fell swoop.
Okay, just a quick related question, Mr.
Sure.
President. After ordering a probe into flood control projects, you launched the Sumbong sa Pangulo website, formed the ICI, removed the funding for flood control structures, and then ordered the reduction of DPWH project costs. Can we expect other similar measures in the next few days or weeks? And if yes, what are they?
Similar measures as what?
Similar related measures that seek to curb corruption. Kasi ang dami nyo na pong mga directive sunod-sunod.
Now it's time to let the ICI do its work, and let the Ombudsman do his work, and let the DOJ do their work. And then that is on the legal side, na hinahabol natin yung mga na-identify na kasama dito sa napakalaking sistema ng korupsyon. But also on the other side, because we talked about the reduction in the prices of materials for DPWH, we're also at the same time trying to find savings in that. Even just now upon resumption of the budget hearings, marami na nakita in both houses, in both the House of Representatives and the Senate, na magkakaroon pa tayo ng savings. So I think it will be we will be able to show that it is in fact possible to write a good, clean budget.
Good afternoon. Samuel Medonilla from Business Mirror. One of the main topics of the APEC summit this year is about the adoption of artificial intelligence. To what extent does the Marcos administration is planning to adopt artificial intelligence in the government?
As much as we can, as soon as we can. You're missing a chance if you wait. AI is going to come, parang alon yan eh. Kahit anong gawin mo, mababasa ka. And if you don't learn how to swim, i.e., if you do not learn how to use AI in the best way, and in a secure way, and in a benevolent way, may iwanan ka talaga. Ang bilis ng takbo ng teknolohiya. So, that is one of my big takeaways from the APEC, this APEC, was ang daming diskusyon on the sidelines about AI. And that's what anong ginagawa ninyo? Anong plano ninyo? What are your capacities? What are your capabilities? Saan kayo magaling? Dito kami magaling. Di magtulungan tayo, ganyan-ganyan, etc. And trying to find a way, everyone's trying to find a way we are trying to achieve two things. We are trying to understand the technical side of AI. What is AI actually capable of doing? And it is not a static exercise, because what AI can do 1 month ago is different from what AI will be able to do 1 month from now. Ang bilis na, that's the one thing that's new about AI, that's why people can't quite understand it, is it learns. So yung kausap, it's not paulit-ulit lang, on the same question, paulit-ulit lang. It learns. It knows my AI knows who I am. I'm sure you use ChatGPT, kilala na kung sino ka. You know that you're a journalist, that we work for this. Malalaman eh. And so you have to take advantage. It's such a powerful tool. You must take advantage of it as quickly as possible. You have to learn how to use it as quickly as possible. As I said, that's one of the big takeaways for myself at least, and I think all the others as well, all the other leaders as well, about how quickly how quickly AI will overwhelm us if we do not learn how to swim with the tide, if we do not learn how to handle it properly, if we do not learn how we can use it to best help our people. Although there's so many aspects to it that it really has to be studied very, very hard.
Quick follow-up lang, sir. You mentioned that, do you plan to make any issuance that would provide government agencies guidance on how to adopt AI in their operations? And what agencies should be prioritized to adopt AI?
It's not yet clear. What AI do you use for government? Diba? And I'm sure each department has a slightly different AI. And we have to learn, hindi pa natin alam eh. Kaya hindi ko pwedeng sabihin sa isang departamento, ito yung gagawin ninyo. Kasi mag-aaral pa tayo eh. We have to talk to the experts. We have not only Filipinos, we have to talk to everybody, the whole world. And try and find out, again, those two things. Ano ba talaga ang AI? What does it do? What does it do well? What doesn't it do well? How do you use it properly? And number two, yung mga think tank, sa palagay ninyo, saan patungo ito? At paano natin gagamitin para tulungan yung Pilipinas? Para tulungan yung ibang bansa? Para tulungan yung ASEAN? People have to we have to go to the people who are thinking about those issues so they can tell us what their conclusions are. We can agree or not agree, but at least we have an idea of how the thinking is going and a better idea of the technology so that we know where it is headed and where are the dangerous areas that we need to watch out for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. So for the last question, Bernadette from GM.
Bernadette Reyes from GMA Integrated News. It's a pleasure meeting you up close. It will be a great story to tell to my little girl when I come back home.
Oh no.
Anyway, Mr. President, you mentioned about the commitment of Samsung.
Yes.
Would you be able to give us a bigger picture of how much the Philippines stands to benefit in terms of employment and
3,000
investments? In totality, from the APEC, were there any?
No, from the APEC?
Yes, from the APEC in total.
No, this is just Samsung. No, the APEC, of course, on the side, you can make these deals like we did with Samsung. But what we talk about are these big subjects like where is our trade going? How do we make more resilient our supply chains? What are the arrangements? At maraming napag-usapan, FTA, SEPA. Yun ang mga ganong klaseng mga bagay na napapag-usapan dito. When can we sign our FTAs? When can we sign our and then in the speeches that were made, it was almost unanimous when people spoke about the importance of multilateralism. It is a rejection of the trend in geopolitics to force small nations to make a choice between one power group or another. And tayo, we don't subscribe to the Cold War bipolar formula. And that is the general sentiment around the table during the closed APEC meetings, that multilateralism is the key, which is very much in consonance with the way the Philippines is thinking. Kailangan marami tayong kaibigan. Kailangan marami tayong kanegosyo. Kapag magkaroon ulit ng kagaya ng COVID, wala tayong makuha, yung Vietnam gusto mag-export ng kanin, ng bigas sa atin, pero walang barko. Di ba? Kahit anong gawin mo, paano yan? Paano ngayon? Pagandahin natin ang production natin. Those are the things. How do we make our more resilient? There's certain things that kagaya ng nagka-Ukraine war. Yung wheat na binibili natin sa kanila, nagmahal ng husto. We had to find other sources. So that's the kind of thing that we are talking about when you say resilient supply chains. Na kahit magkagulo, meron tayong pagkukuhanan ng supply natin. Kaya we have to be imaginative and creative in engaging what I have come to refer to as non-traditional partners, suppliers, markets, non-traditional, kasi dati hindi natin masyadong. Kaya mahabang usapan namin ng presidente ng Chile. Mahaba ang usapan namin ng presidente ng Mexico kasi talagang yung katabi ko pa yung presidente ng Peru, yung babae. And we talked for, habang nagsasalita yung mga iba, we were talking a lot. And we're saying, don't discount anymore Southeast Asia from your thinking because my generation anyway, ang layo ng Peru sa Pilipinas, walang koneksyon yan. Chile, ganun din ang usapan namin. But that's what we are trying to achieve. We are trying to broaden our base, as it were. And that's why multilateralism has become the undercurrent theme in this APEC, that we have to engage with as many partners, allies, friends as we can. And as I said, it's pretty unanimous around the table.
May I make a quick follow-up, Mr.
Sure.
President? Sir, having said about things about multilateralism, and you mentioned WTO in one of your speeches, what's the take of the other member countries? Were you able to discuss further with them regarding
about
that?
WTO?
Yes, thank you.
The fear that everyone is feeling now is that the principles and the strictures that guided the creation of WTO are no longer in place, or at least no longer effective. And a great deal of what was spoken about is that we have to return to the free market principles that WTO was created for. Kaya ngayon parang hindi na nasusundan yung ating unang idea na WTO will help us open markets between countries. And that's not what we're not. The trend now is the opposite, is closing markets. Now China is the one who's saying, well, let's open more markets. Kaya nagbabago talaga ang usapan. And the comment that we have, the world is really turning. Things are changing.